You ever watch those pro matches and you just think like, whoa, how are they doing that? Like every shot just seems effortless, right?
Totally. It's like they're in a rhythm or something.
Exactly. And we're always trying to like bottle that feeling, that feeling of just grooving on the court. So today we are diving deep into an article all about finding that rhythm in your tennis game.
Yeah, it's called Finding Your Flow on the Tennis Court.
Yeah.
And it really gets into, like, the mental side of playing.
Which I think is so key because we can all work on our forehands and backhands, but if your head's not in the game,
Forget about it. You're toast.
right. So think of it this way. Remember that feeling of getting totally lost in a good song? Like the world just fades away and you're just moving to the music.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
It's that same principle with tennis. When you find your rhythm, you get into that flow state and everything just clicks.
Yeah, it's like being in the zone.
Yeah.
Everything slows down, and you're just completely present in the moment.
Exactly. And this article makes a really interesting point about rhythm. It's not just about footwork, you know?
Right. It's not just about how fast you're moving or how smooth your strokes are.
It's about mental immersion, like really being present in the moment on the court.
Which is easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
Because how many times have you been out there and you miss a couple of shots and then boom?
The doubts start creeping in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're overthinking everything. You're worried about the score, your opponent's last shot, what your partner's thinking.
It's like your brain becomes your own worst enemy.
Totally. And this article calls that overthinking. And it's a real flow killer.
Makes total sense. Because when you're overthinking, you're not reacting. You're stuck in your head.
Exactly. You're not playing instinctively. You're second-guessing yourself. Your timing's off.
And you lose that confidence. And speaking of pressure, this article dives into a really fascinating case study with Aryna Sabalenka at the Australian Open last year.
Oh, yeah. That was a battle.
Talk about a high-pressure situation.
Yeah.
Going for her first Grand Slam final.
And you could see the pressure getting to her, especially in that first set.
Totally. It was like she was playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
And the article actually quotes her saying, "I felt like a little bit under pressure, which I expected."
Okay, so she at least had the self-awareness to recognize it.
Right, which is huge in itself. But the question is, what do you do with that awareness?
Yeah.
How do you flip the script?
Right, because most of us would probably just crumble under that kind of pressure. So how did she turn things around?
Yeah, seriously. Because I don't know about you, but I would be a wreck in that situation.
Oh, for sure. But here's the cool part. Sabalenka goes on to say, but yeah, then like I start telling myself that I have to move a little bit better. I try to focus on my movement. As I start focusing on my movement, I start feeling the rhythm better.
So instead of getting lost in the pressure of the moment, she shifted her focus to something she could control.
Yeah.
Her movement.
Exactly. She grounded herself in the physical sensations of playing, like feeling her feet on the court, the swing of her racket.
It's at tricking your brain to stop overthinking.
Yeah.
Because you're so focused on the physical that the mental noise just kind of fades away. Exactly. And the best part is, this is something we can all learn from. Whether you're playing tennis or giving a presentation or just dealing with a stressful situation, shifting your focus to the physical can really help to calm those nerves.
So it's not just about thinking your way out of it. It's about feeling your way through it.
Exactly. Now, of course, you might be thinking, okay, that's great in theory, but how do I actually do that? Like, what are some practical things I can do to find that flow state?
Right, because it's one thing to say focus on your movement, but it's another thing to actually make it happen.
Right. So the article dives into a few different techniques, and one that might surprise you is breath work.
Breath work. Okay, I'll admit, when I first heard about athletes using breath work, I was a little skeptical.
Yeah, I get it. It sounds a little woo-woo.
And then I actually tried it, and I was like, huh, this actually kind of works.
It's not just some hippy-dippy thing. There's actually a lot of science behind it. When you regulate your breathing, you're directly influencing your nervous system.
So you're basically calming your body down from the inside out.
Exactly. You're flipping the switch from that fight or flight response to a more relaxed and focused state.
So instead of your heart racing and your mind going a mile a minute, you're able to slow things down and think more clearly.
Exactly. It's like hitting the reset button in the middle of a match.
I like that analogy. So breath work is one technique. What else can we do to find our rhythm on the court?
Well, think about it. Like a good song has its structure, right? Verse, chorus, verse. There's a rhythm to it. And the same goes for tennis. Establishing routines on the court can be incredibly grounding.
You mean like having a pre-serve routine? Or a specific way you return the ball?
Exactly. Those little rituals help to keep you present and focused, shot after shot.
It's like you're saying, okay, brain, we're doing this now. Stick to the plan.
Exactly. You're training your mind to stay focused. So breathwork routines, what else could we throw in the mix?
Well, I've heard a lot about visualization, like picturing the ball going exactly where you want it to go.
Oh yeah, visualization's huge.
Hmm.
I mean, pretty much every pro uses it in some form or another.
So how does
Yeah.
that work exactly? Like, do you just close your eyes and imagine yourself winning Wimbledon?
Well, you can try that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more about mentally rehearsing specific shots or scenarios. Like, let's say you're having trouble with your serve. You can visualize yourself going through the motions, tossing the ball, hitting that perfect spin,
Yeah.
and watching it land right in the service box.
So you're basically creating a mental blueprint for success.
Exactly. And the more you practice those mental reps, the more automatic those actions become in real life.
It's like your brain doesn't know the difference between actually doing it and just imagining it.
Right. And here's a pro tip. Don't just visualize the perfect shots. Visualize how you'll handle the mistakes too. Like, picture yourself missing a shot,
Huh.
taking a deep breath, and then refocusing for the next point.
Ah, that's smart. Because let's be real, we all miss shots.
Exactly. So it's about training yourself to bounce back from those setbacks and maintain that mental composure throughout the match.
Which brings us back to that idea of finding your rhythm, because
Yeah.
it's not just about hitting the ball hard or serving fast.
It's about that mind-body connection. When your mind and body are in sync, that's when you unlock that next level of play.
So for all our listeners out there who are ready to find their flow on the court, what's the one thing you would tell them to focus on?
Experiment. Find what works for you. Maybe it's breath work, maybe it's routines, maybe it's visualization, or maybe it's all of the above. The key is to be deliberate, be consistent, and don't be afraid to try new things.
I love that. It's not about being perfect. It's about finding what helps you quiet the noise and play your best tennis.
Exactly. And remember, if Sabalenka can find her rhythm in a Grand Slam final, we can definitely handle ourselves on our local courts.
So true. So get out there, experiment, have fun, and who knows, maybe you'll surprise yourself with what you're capable of.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Big thanks to you as always for sharing your insights.
My pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep practicing, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.